So Daryle, were you anywhere near the Capitol? Because I know you usually in the midst. You were there when Heather Heyer was murdered in Charlottesville. You're usually out in them streets fighting fascism. You knew that they were going to be there on the 6th. You got the call. You knew what was going to happen. Were you surprised by what you saw?
I wasn't there, and I wasn't surprised. The reason why I wasn't there was just personal matters, but it didn't have anything to do with the fact that I didn't want to be there. I really wanted to be there because I was concerned about what it would become. And I'm going to assure you, this will be the last time I miss one of their events. And the sad thing about it is there's more coming.
Yeah.
Because they keep telling you that there's more coming. They're telling you on Parler right now that they're planning on doing the same thing on the 19th. On the 19th in D.C. And the question I have is, we knew they was coming before. We knew what they did twice now in D.C. in as many months. What are we going to do now? What is going to happen now? Now, the fact that things are just all over the news and people have gotten killed may suggest that people are going to start doing exactly what they did after Charlottesville. They're going to start handling these characters the way they should be handled. But we keep going to this well of ignorance that says that we shouldn't do anything. We should just ignore them and they'll go away. That hasn't worked yet.
Right.
That has not worked yet. And then there's the matter that we really have to address that keeps coming up. The cops acting very differently than when they handled our protests. And when you take a look at how we could be miles away from the Capitol and the police will act the same darn way, and they actually literally just let these folks inside armed into the Capitol, one of the most fortified buildings in the world. And it cost people their lives.
Let me ask you a quick question. Let me ask you this, because I probably won't be able to ask this of any high-profile Antifa member no time soon. Can you clear the air? Was Antifa there, members of Antifa, the larger organization, there posing as Trump supporters, infiltrating and causing the disturbance on the inside?
No, we were not. We were absolutely not. But here's the fun part about that. The Proud Boys said they were going to do that. They put that all over the internet. So those that are out there saying that are lying. And I'm saying that they're lying because a lot of them are associated with the Proud Boys. Mm. So they're playing the game. You hear them all the time saying that, yeah, we were out there, we're proud to do it, we're happy that we did it, we will do it again, and if I did it. That's basically the narrative. That's the narrative. They're playing a game with us. They don't care what it is we as a country or as a society feel about them or their actions. All they know is that they're losing and they have to win. They must win by any means necessary. Damn the facts. I mean, you take a look at what happened in Georgia. It didn't just go blue. You have two senator-elects that just might be among the most progressive in the Senate, and they're coming from Georgia. More to the point, they're coming from Martin Luther King's church in one case. So you're talking about they're freaking out.
Yeah.
They know they're losing. Remember, I will remind people, I think I brought this up before. There was a guy who was a part of the Boogaloo movement that's from my hometown by the name of Paul Miller, goes by the name of Gypsy Crusader online. And he said that the Boogaloo movement is the second American Revolution, or second Civil War. And he said it will happen when conservatives, when the right in this country feel that they can no longer win national elections. That's what they are charging. So now we are dealing with a situation where they are not stable. They are going to do this again. They are going to kill more people, and it could be us.
Now, when you said
something about it,
when you said you wish you were there, all right, so we didn't really see any type of counter effort out there. So if you were there, what would been taking place?
There wouldn't been a counter effort. I mean, I'm a reporter. So basically, all I would have done is document.
But they were
Some of
attacking
them were
reporters. They were attacking
They
reporters.
were.
Yeah, and I would have had to just fight back. I know the situation. I mean, they would argue with me, I'm sure. But if anything like that went down, I would just be prepared for it going down. I'm always in.
Do you wear certain things? Like, what's your uniform when you go into these situations? What do you bring with you?
I don't. I mean, for the most part, I'm like not flying colors. I never fly colors really, unless I'm really there to have a conversation. But whenever I am out there, it's just all business. Sometimes they recognize me and just want to talk. Other times they want to cuss me out. If I'm in Virginia proper, let's just say I have a little more going for me. So, and that's what happened to me in last January when they had the pro-gun rally. Okay, you're pro-gun, so am I.
Right.
And they tried. The Proud Boys tried to play that game in Virginia. They tried to play it in Philly with me when back in September when we was doing a teaching about them at Independence Hall. But they didn't get what they want, so they left after 20 minutes.
What do they want?
To be prepared, huh?
What do they want? Daryle Lamont Jenkins is here. He is, of course, one of the leaders of the anti-fascist movement, Antifa, and also executive director of the One People's Project. What do they want?
I mean, it just basically they are frightened. They are. I think one of the folks on Fox News talked about how they were frightened that they had lost because they had lost the election and they're going to be forgotten. That's their scuttlebutt. But basically, they couldn't care. All the people that they have kept down for generations, for 400 years, are now coming up. The demographics are shifting, and they are being X'd out. They don't want that to happen, and they are going to fight whomever is a part of that.
But we look at Fortune 500 companies, 90% of them are run by white men. We look at the leadership in Congress, 90% of it's white people. We just added Reverend Warnock. I think that he became like the 12th or the 13th in history Black person to go to the Senate, like 2 women, Kamala Harris being one of them. This is what are you losing? Oh, you know what I'm saying? It's like the wealth of white people during this pandemic hit record highs. What are we talking about?
A Black man and a Jewish man just took 2 Senate seats in Georgia.
Yes.
That's what that is about. That is what that is about. It's as I said again, they do not have the standing that they used to have maybe even 30 years ago. And because of that, they say they want their they're going through the old things about how they just either want to wipe out the country, they want to just give it up, or they just want their own, as they say from time to time, their own separate nation now. I remember I was listening to, there's a guy on Fox and Friends during the weekend. His name is Pete Hegseth. I'm saying his name wrong. I apologize. But one of the things that he is about is having another constitutional convention. Him and a guy who's really promoting that, and he works with a guy named Mark Meckler who's really promoting that. A constitutional convention, or as they prefer to call it, a convention of the states, basically means rewriting the Constitution. They say flat out that they feel that there are too many advantages for the left in the Constitution, so they want to add new amendments. So they want
this Constitution written not including anybody Black, any women, just for wealthy landowning white men. That Constitution.
That Constitution.
They want to rewrite. So can we do this? Can we give them Alaska? It's big. It's a big landmass. Can they have Alaska?
Well, here's the thing about that, and everybody keeps talking about how they want to give them their own states so they can only live in their world. Number one, I'm anti-fascist for a reason. I don't want fascist states to grow. Fascists have a problem with staying within their borders. You give them something where they can build and create, you'll get bombed by that country. Number two, Whatever land they have, they're not going to keep, because that means all the tribal treaties that we have are null and void, and the indigenous people are going to want that land back.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
should get their land back. Give them back their land.
Exactly. So they got that fight on their hands.
All right. How about the Dakotas?
Huh?
Both Dakotas, yes.
Both of them, North and South.
I
Both
say
funk.
give the indigenous people like Wyoming back and let those people be on reservations on their
That's
land.
my attitude.
Ah,
Yeah.
That's my
I like
attitude.
that.
But you know what? To be honest with you, they need to go. They just simply
Wow.
need to go.
go where would you send them?
Into the dustbin of history. They're going to have to give it up. Really, if they want to survive in this country, if you're in this country or in this society, if they want to advance themselves as we are evolving as a people, they're going to have to realize that what they are doing is not going to be compatible. They are not. They are going to be the forgotten man and women. We were forgetting about them. We are leaving them behind. We're not going to leave them behind so that they can grow within themselves. Hell, they can't grow within themselves.
Primarily because Laura Branigan's estate, because she passed away from an aneurysm, I think 20 years ago, sent the cease and desist. Yeah, sent the cease and desist to stop using her music. That Gloria song, they were like, no, you can't use my music from the grave. No, stop it. Like already,
I wish the
village people. Nobody wants them to use their music. So let me ask you this, Daryle. How do we protect ourselves? Because I feel like a dog is most dangerous when it's cornered. Also, a desperate person does desperate things. And if you are saying what I believe you're saying is that they're desperate because they have lost the grasp of power or what have you, and they know it's done, this is when people are at their most dangerous. How do we protect ourselves? And then moving forward, because at some point we're going to have to heal as a nation, or at least come to some semblance of creating a new normal for what it means to be an American. Are you hopeful that that's even possible? With the 74 million people that cast a vote for Donald Trump?
Yes, because there's 3 times that many that don't want what that 74 million want. And the thing is, we have always been in the position to keep things stabilized. How do we know that? We kept things stabilized for 150 years. Yes, there's skirmishes here and there, but it's never been to the point where we're just going to uproot what we have built over those past 150/200 years. And I do mean all of us. We have fought too hard to be where we are today. And we know how to do this. The problem is we have too many people within our political structure that aren't even looking at things that way. They're looking at things on a greed aspect. I look at people basically trying to advance themselves politically as if it is an industry. They are more concerned about their bottom line than about our bottom line. And because of that, the things that we needed to do before Trump got elected didn't happen. We could have kept Trump out of office. We could have kicked Trump out of office somewhere during these past 4 years. It's only now that we say that we can impeach him. That's not right. I mean, what are we going to do when the next nefarious president comes into being? Because the one thing that I have a problem with is the Republican presidents in particular has become increasingly worse. And with that, the only thing that we seem to get out of our major parties is fundraising behind it. We don't want you raising money saying that you're going to do something about such and such a politician, and then nothing happens to that politician. We want you to do something when you get into that office, no matter what office it is, whether you're in the Congress or in the Senate. So we basically, to coin the phrase, we're going to have to hold our politicians' feet to the fire. And we should be doing that because we're the ones that said it.
Well, technically, you didn't coin that, but 866-801-8255.
Well, I didn't coin
I
phrase. No.
just wanted to point that out. And speaking of accuracy, the caller that called up said the Laree show is not on demand. Well, we checked during the break, so do not call up a live show with misinformation that we can't verify in the moment. All 5 shows are on demand, so refresh your browser. Yeah, all right, okay. Thank you, Smiz. He checked himself. All right, Joelle, you got a final question?
Okay, all right. Mr. Jenkins, since you are on the ground floor, do I have to keep worrying and purchase more firearms and ammo, or is there anything you can say to calm me down? Are we about to have to fight? What's going on?
You know what, to be real, I mean, yeah, if you can carry. It doesn't mean,
There it is.
and I'll be real about it, and I'll be real about it. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to use.
Just be ready.
But it does mean that if you have to use, it's there. I mean, that's gonna be my opinion. I'm 2A all day.
So for the record, I want no violence. None of us here want any violence.
By the show's producers and its guests.
We should be able to have a conversation about self-protection. We should be able to have that conversation because it's real. Those folks had pipe bombs.
Yes.
They were okay with blowing people up.
Yes.
So I don't know, thoughts and prayers and huddling together and singing in church is not going to keep us safe. We need to be safe. And only thing that people respect, and this is, Daryle Lamont Jenkins, you're out there. You willfully go out in the middle of the chaos and the trauma. And I don't know, how or why you do it, it's like, it's scary out there.
Well, I do it because no one else can or no one else will. I think I've been doing this for so long while other people were looking the other way when it comes to these elements. And it's not just me, it's other groups out there. I mean, Rose City Anti-Fascist, a matter of fact, the anti-fascist groups across the country are just as vigilant, if not more. And you have a group of others that out there that are doing it that are not even part of the anti-fascist movement, but are still trying to make sure that we maintain ourselves as a society. But I think that in my case, I think I come from a more unique position where I'd like to just basically deal with them beyond the rallies, where I'd like to get the information about them so that we know who we're dealing with while they're talking trash.
Tell me the scariest. You're on Parler. You watch. You do all the things that I don't have the energy to do or the fortitude to do. Right. What's the scariest thing you've seen recently? That you're concerned will manifest?
I think the scariest thing, I think to be honest with you, the unchecked rhetoric about starting civil wars. I mean, if you talk to me about the scariest thing that I have seen, I would probably say what happened on Wednesday. No one has been able to do that. No one has ever done that. I can remember leftists boasting about how they like to take those steps, how they like to just bust into the Capitol. We saw what happened to the Black Panthers when that happened in California, though. So that was just maybe a pipe dream, and it wasn't where we were at anyway. That's not really. We really want to try to see changes positive changes in our society.
Wednesday was no different than what they did in Michigan. And they threatened to snatch a sitting governor and rape her and kill her. Exactly. And they stormed the Michigan State House and they got in. They got in there too, unmolested.
What is going to change is finding ways to stop that from happening. And you can't see, this is the perfect example of what I mean. We have the wherewithal to stamp this down, or at the very least out.
So why aren't we? Why did the police take selfies? Question. I mean, Lamont was like, it seemed like they were in concert. It seemed like they got a memo. Did they get a memo?
Well, one of the things that people are looking at, that's one of the things we're going to have to look at, because one of the things that that came up was the fact that you had an issue with the National Guard not responding the way they should have. And everybody is remembering that what Donald Trump did in the Pentagon, firing a bunch of people and replacing them with his cronies. And people are saying, was he planning for this to happen? And if that is the case, what are we going to do about it? That's why they want to try to impeach the president, even though he has 12, 13 days left, because he can do anything within those 12 or 13 days that could uproot everything.
Yep. He's got that clear code.
One thing that hasn't happened, and God forbid if it does, we just have to just praise God that no one has gotten assassinated on the governmental level. Doesn't mean
ironically today is the day that Gabby Giffords and that little girl and a bunch of others were shot. I think this is the anniversary of that. Then we had the baseball field where politicians were. Wednesday could have meant a lot of deaths, more so than the officer and the 4 others who lost their lives, including that woman, Ashley. Yeah, you're right. They're before the grace of God, but this is not the end, right? Is that what you're telling us? There's more to come?
Definitely not the end. They're telling you that it's not the end. The one thing that I think people really should start doing is listening to the folks that keep saying that these people are a problem and we should do something about it. The truth of the matter is we can't. The truth of the matter is we can't. I think truth be told, when Biden is in there, the one thing that we really are going to have to do, I think we're going to have to see, is a whole bunch of amendments coming forward. If Pete Hegseth or Mark Meckler want to rewrite the Constitution to have amendments in there that benefit them, we can take that in the other direction and make sure that they are never allowed to do half the stuff that they were trying to pull. It doesn't even have to be amendments. It can be straight up rules and new laws that just keep them from flourishing the way they have. They have freedom of speech. That's as far as it goes.
Yeah, but this president packed the courts over the last 4 years with
we can handle that too.
Okay.
There's probably a lot. I mean, we have everything at our disposal if we use it. Shoot, we have we are 50-50 in the Senate now, or 51-50 in the Senate now. So whatever it is we can do, we should do it, and we should do it within the next 2 years, because we don't know what the midterms are going to look like.
And somebody, Joe Manchin, somebody let him know that
somebody
he's a Democrat.
Let him know.
Somebody let Joe Manchin in West Virginia know that he can be voted out. He's one of them people who I've been saying we should do to the Republicans. He came into the Democratic Party, in sheep's as a Republican, really, but he couldn't win in the state for that particular seat as a Republican. He couldn't win that primary and came in as a Democrat. I feel like he's the way Bloomberg was always a Democrat and then ran as a Republican because he could never win as a Democrat in New York. There's a lot of shenanigans going on. It's time for us to learn some shenanigans. All right. All of these people should be primaried. Huh?
And speaking of shenanigans, and speaking of being primary, we should also start investigating some of those elected officials and seeing if they should be removed from office. Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz. All of them should be impeached as well. I agree.
Even the ones that talked about that. Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yes, I mean, crazy.
We also cannot miss the fact that there's a Chicago police captain or chief who came out and said what they did, it wasn't that serious. Y'all calm down. So, and to that point, as long as people that were there rioting or whatever can go back home and put on their law enforcement uniforms, our problems are way larger.
Yeah, when you think about it, I'm quite sure when I heard that was a union chief, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those police union bosses always give away the store. They really do. And I'm trying to find out what it is he said when the protests were happening in Chicago about those.
Well, on that note,
I think we need to find out.
Me too. And because of that, I'm out. All right. Daryle Lamont Jenkins, thank you for being here. You can follow him at D. Lamont Jenkins. The D is for director of the One People's Movement Project. One People's Project. Thank you for being here.